Hi, this is Steve Haas again. In this video, we're going to talk about list. To enter list, obviously, you come up here to the menu and you click on list. If you already have list, then obviously they'll appear here. But since this is probably your first time using it, you're going to be clicking to create a new list. And in the list, all these questions are pretty obvious with the exception of this one here. This might throw you for a little bit of a loop, so I'll get into that right now. If you have like a brand, or if every time you send an email it's going to be with the same subject line, then you can set it here as the default. And of course, you can always change it as you're adding a new broadcast or an automation sequence or something like that. Then you can change the subject line there. But if you have like a default message that you send all the time, then you would put that here. And as you can see here, standard contact information, company name, address, etc., etc. Then down here, you have the option to either use single or double opt-in. Just by clicking that little button, it activates or deactivates. You can send a unsubscribe message to a subscriber when they unsubscribe, and I'll show you where to find those, and you can edit them. Your final email, when people opt into your list, you can send them a welcome email. You can make that a default there, or you can just set up an automation sequence, whichever you prefer. I normally turn this off. Just depends on what my goals are as to whether I use single or double opt-in. That's up to you. Normally I find that if you want to make sure that you're getting good solid emails, then obviously double opt-in, but you won't get as many. So if your goal is to get a lot of opt-ins, then you want to turn off double opt-in. If you want to make sure you have good quality emails, then this is the way to go, is double opt-in. And it's up to you whether you want to send a like a final email, saying, hey, did you make a mistake, or did you share this with somebody and they accidentally unsubscribed or whatever. You can send that email and you can modify it, of course, and I'll show you that here. But I don't usually do that. I mean, for me, I just make it as painless as possible for the subscriber to either subscribe or unsubscribe. And again, like I said, double opt-in, single opt-in, that's your choice. Then you just click save and continue on. For the sake of expediency, we'll go through some of the information here without having to recreate all of this stuff again from scratch. You can also import list, and I'm going to show you how to do that. There's several different ways you can do this. The good thing about AltMailers, there's more than one way to do the same thing. So you can either come over here once you have a list, or if you're creating a new list like I just showed you a minute ago, this is what you'll see after you've created your list. You'll have these options here. And you can go into the settings. That's where you'll see the data that I just showed you. You'll be able to see all your subscribers as such. You can add just like a single subscriber if you like, or you could add multiples by just doing an import. Now it has to be a CSV file. It can't be an Excel file or anything like that. So if you have an Excel file, just save it as a CSV file. Then you'll be able to import it. I strongly suggest that you click on the sample so that you can see exactly the format that it needs to be. You have, at minimum, you have to have an email. That's the bare minimum that you can do for an import. Then you can add other fields, or if you already have other fields, just make sure that whatever name you want that field to possess is up here. So if you wanted to have like address 1, address 2, city, state, zip code, telephone number, or any other details that you want here, just make sure that those headings are here and then the information below. Pretty simple, actually, and pretty intuitive. Yes, I want to leave. Okay. And then once you have that, then you go over here, you hit select. It'll pull up the standard Windows dialog to find the file and then import it in. It'll take it a couple of minutes. It'll go through, it'll check to make sure that everything looks good on its end. Once it does, you'll see a bar graph that'll go across here. and then you'll have your statistics here as to how many emails were successfully imported, any errors that you encounter or whatever, and then you'll be able to download the log file if you need to. Moving on, you can create segments. And the cool thing about segments is this also uses automation, so you can make it like, customers or subscribers that open this email will go to either all or any, and then you can add additional, like name equals so and so, then they go here, or if it's you'll be able to see that more in detail in automation. So we'll just kind of leave that here for now because that kind of gets a little complicated, and I don't want to go off on any tangents here. Let's just kind of stick with the topic at hand, which is list. Here's your forms, your embed forms like you would use for a squeeze page or opt-in on a blog or whatever the case may be. This is where you would copy and paste your information from. This is a preview of what it looks like. If you don't need the formatting, then do away with it. Just don't include the style sheet, because most of us are using some kind of page builder, form builder, or whatever. So you would want to use the styling of that page builder or form builder. But if you're using something like HTML or whatever, then by all means, go ahead and turn on that style sheet if you want to. Show invisible fields. I've never really used that. Show only required fields, which is the email address. Validate the script. That would mean that, for example, if you want to make first name mandatory, then you would have to change that when you go in to edit the form, but that would validate it and make sure that whatever information is being correctly entered. Let's keep moving on here. Where was I? Oh yeah, forms. You can go in here. This is where you would go in to edit your forms. So this is a sign up form. You could use any of these field tokens here, and you can also type it here. It's a standard WYSIWYG editor, so you can format the text any way you want. You can change the color. You can change anything you want about it. You can change this background. Whatever suits your needs, you can do it here. Thank you page, if you want to redirect somebody to this or send them this. And you can pretty much follow along here. It's pretty intuitive. There's nothing really complex about this. I just wanted to kind of highlight that for you to show you that there is a form builder that's built into this. And you'll see that more in a little while when I start showing you about broadcast and automation. You can get really fancy with these forms if you want to. You can manage the fields. This is what I was telling you before. You can actually create all kinds of complex forms. Actually, this thing is a pretty comprehensive little form builder. As you can see here, you can add a text field. You can add drop down list, multi-select box, and then just put in what the values are, and so forth. So, like I said, it's a pretty comprehensive little form builder. So I don't want to save this, so I'm just going to move on to something else here. And there we go. We're right back to where we started from. Email verification is something that I'm testing right now, so I haven't deployed it. Once I do, those of you who are interested, of course, it'll be for a little extra fee, but you'll just buy credits and you'll be able to use them as you need to. That way you can verify the emails when people subscribe or as you're adding them if you're importing them in. So that's it for lists for now, and I'll see you in the next video.